When I'm not in the Barnes & Noble bargain section, looking through a very disproportionate amount of Hitler-themed coffee table books, I like to answer questions that I get on YouTube. So let's get to it. Sean, I have this thing in my mind. If a guitarist can play classical, he can play every other style. Is that true? I think that's a little bit of an overgeneralization. Now, in my own experience, the classical guitarists who went to school for it and went through a university type curriculum of classical guitar are just absolute beasts, and that is absolutely true. I've seen guys who are just kind of unassuming classical guitar player dudes just be able to just shred absolutely anything. But to a larger extent, I don't necessarily think just learning classical guitar opens you up to anything else. I think it's just whatever you want to put the time into. Now, if you have gone through school, then you have definitely all the tools and abilities to be able to play pretty much any type of music. But that doesn't really mean that you can't do that any otherwise. Like the best metal players can probably also play the best classical type players. So really, I think your goal should just be to be a versatile guitarist in whatever genres that interest you, because each genre has their own kind of techniques and styles that lend itself to that thing specifically that you have to practice to get better at. Like, just because you become an awesome classical player or an awesome metal player won't just automatically make you a great bluegrass player, but it will just kind of give you kind of the framework of being able to get good at something and the work ethic to just be able to kind of dominate and crush whatever your heart desires. So I don't think it's just a classical guitar thing. I think it's just being able to learn any type of genre at a high level will lend itself to learning all the other genres a little bit easier. Great job again, Sean. What do you think about two-piece bands like Royal Blood or DFA 1979? First of all, how dare you mention two-piece bands and not talk about the White Stripes or even the Black Keys, because those are still number 1 and 2 in my book. However, I do love Royal Blood, and I'm stoked to hear their new stuff coming out soon. I think I've seen a couple two-piece bands live, and more power to them, because it's really kind of hard to fill out that sonic spectrum. That's why I think it's really interesting what Royal Blood is doing with the bass guitar thing kind of filling out the melodic parts. So I really dig what they're doing. To me, I'm a big White Stripes fan, and those guys will always be holding the torch at number 1 as far as the two-piece goes. Why do all your sentences end with So this is probably the most common question I get on the channel, and honestly, I don't have an answer for it. Funny enough, I was never really teased for this, even though I've always spoke this way, but I remember being 6 years old, and somebody asked me that question, adult asked me that, why are you ending your sentences with a And I was just like an adult's talking to me, what's happening right now? So I don't really know why I do it. It's not really a dialect thing. It's just my signature speech impediment, and I'm gonna keep rocking it. Your vocals have a Brandon Boyd feel about it. How do you actually write vocal lines? Do you sing it out, or do you more often write them out on guitar first? Anyways, great song. Expecting more acoustic tracks from you. So this is in response to some of the acoustic tracks I've been releasing that I'm kind of reworking from the Parador album, which I'm gonna have some more coming up soon. So I definitely appreciate all the great comments I've been getting at it. So I'm definitely gonna have more coming. Please give me the feedback. I love it. The Brandon Boyd thing, the Incubus thing, that's a great compliment. So thank you so much. But as far as coming up with vocal lines, I think it's kind of different every time. In the one lyric video I made from the Writing a Song from Scratch series, I talked about using a piano to help me find a vocal line if I was getting stuck. Other than that, it's kind of just playing along and just either humming while I'm playing to kind of find a part. Sometimes maybe if I'm playing I'll work around a chord from a scale thing. That's why I think really knowing the scales that go along with chords are super helpful, because that's where those vocal lines are going to come from anyways. So sometimes I work it out on guitar, sometimes I work it out on piano, sometimes I just kind of just riff it. I would say the majority of the time I'm just riffing it and just kind of coming up with stuff that I'm feeling and then trying to put words to it. But it is kind of different every time. I wish I had better advice for you, but coming up with vocal lines is just one of those things that just seems to come out of nowhere. Kind of like just coming up with a melodic guitar line. I would kind of equate those things to being the same things. They can get really mechanical if you want to use arpeggios and scale degrees to it, or they can get really creative if you just want to kind of do stuff off the top of your head. So get a looper pedal, just kind of sing and hum along while you're playing, and that's my best advice for you. You're an idiot. The first 2 must-learn scales are the major and minor pentatonic, and you can solo your butt off just with the confines of those scales. Angus Young only solos in the pentatonic scales, and his solos are awesome. Screw modes. So I made the discovery that there's a whole treasure trove of Salty Blues comments sitting in the Ultimate Guitar website forums, because I guess a lot of these videos get shared on like Ultimate Guitar and Guitar Player and Guitar World, and I really hadn't checked out the comments until kind of recently, and man, are they salty. So look forward to a great new extension of Salty Blues comments, courtesy of the Ultimate Guitar Forum. Sean, do you like John Petrucci Dream Theater? The Captain just had him on Captain Meets. I watched the Paul Gilbert one, and I'm still working on the second hour of John P's video. You ever play a Chapman guitar? I love the reverse headstock design and Seymour Duncan pickups. Wondering what your take was. So first of all, if you don't know who the Captain is, Rob Chapman and the Captain from Anderson's, I think have like the greatest YouTube guitar channel. Second greatest YouTube guitar channel out there. Those guys are hilarious, and I love them. As far as Petrucci and Dream Theater, I got into them like really late. And when I say really late, I think maybe like a year and a half ago. The first Dream Theater album I really actually listened to was their newest one, The Astonishing, which we're going to talk about later. But again, I've never really been into the shredder type players, like we're talking about Satriani, Steve Vai, Malmsteen, Petrucci. But out of all of them, I really think I love Petrucci the most, even though I haven't been listening to him that long. I love his tone. Again, I'm a Mesa Boogie guy. I think his signature guitar is absolutely awesome. Great player. He shreds a lot, but he's very tasteful about it. So I'm becoming more and more a bigger Dream Theater fan. As far as Chapman guitars, I have yet to play one. I know they're kind of making a lot of waves. They've got a lot of cool stuff going on. They're one of the biggest up-and-coming guitar manufacturers out there. And it's just cool watching Rob Chapman's videos, just talk about the process behind them and the thinking of it. It's really cool. So I can't wait to get my hands on a Chapman guitar, and as soon as I do, I will let you guys know what I think. So for listening homework, we're going to one of the Dream Theater Astonishing tracks that I'm going to link you to, the music video of. And so if you don't know, The Astonishing is kind of like a super long, double-length concept album that Dream Theater put out. And song by song, I wouldn't say it's like the greatest thing, but it is kind of cool to listen to as a whole. It's very, the orchestration of it is really cool, and I really respect those guys for trying to do something different. I think they even have like an app or a video game that is coming out or came out with it that kind of goes along with the story of it. There's a lot of interviews about the entire thing that you can see from those guys that I would recommend watching. But check that out. Let me know what you think. And until next time, any questions or comments you have, hit me up in the comment section, Instagram, Twitter, or the website, and I'll talk to you guys soon. Thanks a lot.